Yes, sir. What I really do. DC gang, welcome back to the channel. So listen here, familiar. Go sit down in your little chair, right? Cause we have to talk. It's time for us to get serious. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. I just wanted to have a conversation because a lot of us been talking. Well, I streamed on Friday and we were having a lot of different conversations, different opinions about the state of the game. A lot of people have been commenting in my comment sections of the videos, telling me how they dislike my list, how they might not be playing the game right now because of my list, how Yu-Gi-Oh just doesn't feel fun to play and stuff like that. The mirror match between my list is not that great. So I wanted to bring up this conversation to share my opinion on the game. Also, I want to hear you guys' opinion in the comment section of this video specifically because I want to know how most of you feel about the game, because my opinion is kind of the same as a lot of you, but I also have a different perspective on the game, and for that reason I wanted to bring this up. Now, I did manage to climb to Master 1 again. Friday stream, go check that out. It was crazy. We went from Master 4 to Master 1 in legitimately, I think it was 4 hours, which was great. Either way, we managed to make it over here with Fire King. Now, why was I playing Fire King? Because Fire King is really good against my list, if you don't know. Any deck that can pop cards, a bunch of cards on the field, especially going first, is going to be great against my list. Now, again, the whole point of the video is to have a conversation about the deck itself. Now, this, don't look at this. This is I just threw a bunch of stuff together for the sake of conversation. Now, again, like a lot of you been saying, my list is a problem. Now, we're gonna go over the main problem that this deck has, or the main problem about this deck in terms of the game right now. Number one, Konami, whoever wrote this deck, they were drunk. We know bro was drunk. He had a night out, came to the freaking Konami headquarters, wrote a bunch of shenanigans that didn't make sense, and threw it into an archetype because this thing is crazy. Mistake number one, I don't think this deck needs to draw 3 cards. The fact that this deck draws 3 cards is already a huge problem because you gotta think about it. This deck can draw 3 cards, excuse my accent, draw 3 cards, and then on top of that, it spits out bodies like it's nobody's business. It doesn't have a lot of counters to it. And then on top of that, the recursion of this deck, the recycling of this deck is honestly insane. Plus the fact that you can end up with about 5 to 7 cards in the hand. After making your turn 1 board, as a turn 1 player, you just want to throw up a little bit. Because most of the time you don't even care because you already scooped the moment you saw this card if you don't have a hand trap. But honestly speaking, a lot of people have been saying that, even I was saying until I realized that's just Yu-Gi-Oh! That's been Yu-Gi-Oh! For a little bit now. If your opponent was playing Snake Eyes and you didn't have a hand trap, you scooped. If your opponent was playing any Fiend's Myth before this came out and you didn't have a hand trap, most of the time you were scooping. So that part of the conversation is not that viable in my opinion, because that's just regular how Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been for a little while. The main thing is that this thing just doesn't care about most of the hand traps in the game. That's the main problem. The only counter to this is Lancia. And a lot of decks don't necessarily want to play this thing. They don't care to play this thing. And then you feel horrible when you're playing against a different deck that doesn't really care about Lancia. And then you just have a dead card in your hand because you're so scared about the single card that's just running rampage in the game. So yeah, Konami, your balancing of this game is kind of dumb. It's just, in my opinion, is because they don't necessarily care. Now, also, one of the reasons why this game is a little bit in shambles is because of Lancia itself. Now, don't get me wrong. A few decks don't really care about this, but it's how tedious this thing is. This thing is hella tedious for a lot of different decks. Like, it makes you have to play differently when you otherwise have never had to thought about this thing. And it's the fact that you have to think about it now because of my list is probably driving us nuts. Because, for example, let's say branded players have never in their life had to think about Lancia, but now you have to play differently if your opponent throws out a Lancia because branded banishes cards. Also, look at Punk, my favorite archetype. I can't use my scales now, which doesn't allow me to do certain plays, which is crazy. And they're just, the bestial package is kind of dead if they throw this thing out. The fact that the only card that really counters this as a floodgate, which is Protos. If you Lancia before they make a Protos, then it's just stupid. So it just feels like the deck is a little bit invincible right now. But this is definitely not a tier 0 deck. Not by any chance, not by any means. I think that the main problem also when it comes to this deck is the fact that this card is still in the game. To me, in my opinion, this card needs to go. This card needs to go, brother, man. Now, if you're one of those people that say, "Oh no, this card is not a problem," whatever. Let's just look at two of the most powerful decks in the game. Well, not anymore, but I'm talking about Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes would have had a way weaker board if Apollo wasn't in the game. Because the main thing about Snake Eyes is that it's just a body generator. Snake Eyes is not even a real deck. It's just a body generator. It's just an archetype that you use, an engine, to put out bodies, get all the bodies on the field, and link off into some shenanigans. Flameberg is more useful because, you know, you get to put something in the back and special summon it. It allows for really creative shenanigans, with people mainly use it to bring the IP back onto the field, but the rest of the cards are just body generators. And this thing is the main reason why this deck specifically, and even Snake Eyes at the time, felt really bad to play against going second. Because what this card does, especially in my list right now, is just it invalidates almost every single hand trap in the game. What do I mean by that? If you think about it, most of the popular hand traps, well, most of the hand traps in general that we have are monsters. And this thing negates monsters. Specifically, the one card that you play for going second, which is the Rock. Now, the Rock is not necessarily good. It hasn't been good all the time. But this is the one card that you play in order to try and do something going second. And the fact that your opponent can now, in the most simplest way before they actually start making the plays that matter, make a negate to this, you feel stupid. Because this will be your only hope. And then on top of that, if you still manage to use this, it's not going to matter. Because by the time that you need to use this, they haven't started their actual plays. Because what I'm talking about is when this is on the field and then the Malice Q is on the field, you're supposed to nib, but by nibbing this, she already searched the field spell. They could still make the whole combo. The only thing is that now they don't get to make the Apollo, but Apollo was just supposed to be made in order to negate this anyways, so it doesn't really matter. Also, again, look, it negates Ogre, it negates Ash, it negates Maxi. Of course, it negates all of these. It depends on when you use them, because you could use most of these before, but my point is that this invalidates any chance of you going second, especially when the best going second card, you can't use it and it doesn't matter. My second problem with the game, because I don't necessarily think my list is the problem, is other shenanigans as well, because the Malice board is actually super underpowered if Apollo is not in the game. It's really underpowered, because at that point in time, it's more susceptible to hand traps, one, and two, going second, you don't have to worry about two monster negates. And the fact that this thing gets protected by this archetype is also hella annoying, because you can't even attack over it. Now, I don't mind this thing being on the field or this thing being on the field. Those are two disruptions that are like, okay, that's fine to deal with. It's not a problem. But two monster negates and it's not once per turn is a problem. My second problem is Maxi. This card needs to go, brother, man. And if you're one of those people that defends Maxi, I'm here to tell you right now, you're bad at the game. You're bad at Yu-Gi-Oh, brother, man. If you still think that this card is needed in this game, oh my god, dude, you freaking suck, dude. This clearly keeps control combo decks in check. No, you suck, bro. We have board breakers. We have a bunch of spells that are great for going second. We have Fualo now, which is legitimately the perfect. I think this card is perfect as a replacement to Maxi, because it doesn't work if you have cards on the field. It's good for going second for real. And then it doesn't kill going first. Because one of the things about Maxi is that, yeah, it's supposed to keep a combo deck in check. It's supposed to check it. It's not supposed to kill it. Because once you throw this out, you just don't play the game. But with this, throwing it out, certain decks can at least put up a Papa card on the field, a monster negate, or some type of disruption that might help you survive. This allows you to do jack nothing. You either take the challenge and get smoked, or you don't take the challenge and most likely get smoked regardless. This thing needs to go. Now, now that we got out of the way, those are the problems that I generally have with the game right now, and why I think the game is crazy. It's just Lancia is tedious, Maxi needs to go, and Apollo needs to go. Now, in terms of counter, a lot of us don't think about how many counters there actually is to my list. Again, outside of Apollo, and it's like, let's think about Super Poly. A lot of you may not know this, but Super Poly with Predaplan, I can't say the second part of the name, but this monster's right here. Read it. I can't speak English, so I can't read it. This thing is a great combo. It legitimately claps my list. Also, you could play Earth Golem. It helps you clap my list. You could still play Garura. It'll help you, or Mud Dragon, depending on the board. It helps you clap my list. Super Poly is a great counter. Another thing that you may not know is actual board breakers. Now, don't get me wrong, because somebody's going to say this. Oh, I don't want to play going second cards in my going first card and then brick on my going second cards. That's just your problem. One thing that I used to do, and it helped me out become a better Yu-Gi-Oh player, was that I really tried building decks that were good for going first and second. Because at the end of the day, the coin toss in this game sucks. I think that after two coin toss losses, your third coin toss should be an automatic win. There is no reason why we should have multiple streaks of just losing coin tosses. Konami, that's stupid. That's stupid. If somebody lost two coin tosses in a row, especially if they lost those two duels, the third one should be an automatic just going first. Because going first doesn't always equate to winning the game. It does most of the time, but you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Hand Trap, dude. You're going to get hand trapped. Like, 9 times out of 10 at some point in time, which might stop your combo. So yeah, I think Super Poly is great. I think board breakers are great. Raigeki is actually really good. You might not think about it, but Raigeki kind of pops the whole list board. They don't have a spell negate unless they make this thing. And at that point in time, you could kind of bait out the negate of the Destroy Room with another spell, and then you Raigeki the board. Of course, they could try and banish something, specifically with the traps, right? But a lot of this is situational. Now, your hand is also situational. I'm just letting you know that there's more counters than you think, right? Like, I think Raigeki is a great counter to the deck. Harpy's Feather Duster, if you get rid of their back row, especially if you open up with this, the back row, you clap it up, they're not going to have a way to actually interact with you because they need the back row to interact with you. That's why you could also play Heavy Storm. You could play freaking Red Reboot. Red Reboot is actually great. Now, if you're going to tell me that if you activate Red Reboot and they still have shenanigans and playthrough, because of course they drew 3 cards if you didn't stop them going second, then that's just Yu-Gi-Oh, bro. That's just Yu-Gi-Oh. It is what it is. But I'm just showing you that there's more counters than you think. This thing can clap over the traps in the back, and without the traps, the monster on the field can't really do much unless it's this and they have a banished card. But a lot of people don't even end up on this. It's really situational, but I'm just giving you some awareness as to, instead of, thinking that everything is bad and hopeless, you could actually just try and build your deck better. Put certain cards in there, even if they're not good for going first, they might help you going second. Like, for example, this thing doesn't really help you going second. It might if they can't get lethal damage. But this thing is also, I hate floodgates, but this is also a counter to my list that you might not know about. This thing can help because they're playing Link Monsters. Link Monsters cannot go into defense. So ironically, this is good. Now, this card kind of sucks a little bit because if you have a card, you can't activate it. But again, I'm just giving you options. And then Ogre is really good because when they activate the field spell, you could pop the field spell. Now again, that's where if they have Apollo on the field, it just becomes useless. Because by that point in time, they already have Apollo before they activate the field spell. They're gonna negate your Ogre. Unless you have another type of disruption you activate, then you bait it out with that hand trap that you have, then you activate Ogre on Apollo, you're having the greatest time of your life. This doesn't counter my list, but it's really good because it's going to allow you to draw cards. I was actually using it during the stream. I think this card is really great. It gives you a body on the field. It gives you some type of protection against being popped. Well, not protection, but if your monsters get popped, then you can pop a card yourself. So I think that's really good. Of course, Chaos Hunter, they have an easy out to it with the Silverus, but you can still play this. Lancia is freaking nuts. We already know. And yeah, I just think that, yes, the game is in shambles, but every time we get a new deck that's crazy, our job as players is to, of course, complain a little bit, because we are going to complain a little bit. That's one thing about us. We going to complain. But also, we have to come up with counters. We have to think about how can we play against the shenanigans. Now I get the frustration because yes, it is frustrating playing against this deck, but it's not impossible, and that's what I'm trying to show you. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, gang. My little cousin just came in here, but yeah. Also, something else that I wanted to bring up is the fact that a lot of people have also been saying that this deck kind of feels pay to win, and in a sense I understand why people will say that. It makes sense. I'm not gonna lie. Konami went overboard by making this deck all URs. I'm definitely releasing a strong deck that barely has any counters to it before you release the actual counter to it. At this amount of ratios of UR is insane. A lot of people the amount of comments that I got about how people had to dismantle decks, they didn't pull enough cards, and yada yada yada, is pure insanity. Konami, you messed up. I don't think all of these cards should be UR. And another reason why that's one of my opinions is because of the fact that, let's say that you have to give us a ban list, right? The next ban list, of course, people are going to want this thing to get hit. Now, I think this deck is not gonna get hit because I'm pretty sure it'll still be in the shop. But either way, you don't like giving people URs, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm tired of Konami doing this thing where, like for example, they hit a Ghost Sarcophagus because it helps the deck. It's a part of the. It's not. Ghost Sarcophagus is not a freaking Malice card. I'm tired of them doing that. They did it with Snake Eyes a gazillion times, where they hit every other card besides the Snake Eye cards. And then if they start doing this with this deck, I'm just gonna be upset. I'm not gonna front. I'm gonna be upset because it just doesn't make any sense. You made all of these URs. If you're gonna do a ban list and limit or ban any one of these, it's gonna have to be one of the URs, and you're gonna have to put that UR dust in my pocket, because it wouldn't make sense to hit anything. If you put any one of these at 1, we all play them at 1 already. If you limit any one of these, then put that dust in my pocket, like I said, and don't put this thing at 1. Don't be trying to do that. Yeah, because most of the time you search this. You don't even want to open up with this, because if you open up with this and it gets clapped, then you just know you're clapping my list. Unless they have they open up with a great hand and they have hair plus any one of these two in the hand, then you're gonna get clapped regardless. But again, now another thing that I wanted to bring up is the fact that my fault, little bro came in here again. One of the other things that I wanted to bring up is the fact that we've been getting a lot of different archetypes and things like that. Konami, how about we start getting new hand traps? Now, this is just my opinion. I think we should start getting new hand traps at this point in time. Instead of, you know what Konami should do? Instead of making these packs where they add those stupid freaking URs that no one cares about, we probably already have. How about you start coming up with new hand traps that kind of help you counter certain decks in a better way? How about you start doing that? Because the only hand trap that we've gotten in the past 20 years, it hasn't been 20 years. I don't know how long it's been, but in a long time, is Fualos. This is one of the only new hand traps that we've gotten that's done anything besides the Dominus Impulse and the Dominus Perch. Now, again, I think it should just happen more frequently for the health of the game. I think that'll be good. I know you hate going first and getting hit with hand traps. I don't mind getting hit with hand traps going first. The thing that I mind is getting hit with things like this. This is what I hate, getting hit. Because if I get hit with anything else, and it is what it is, bro. If you get Ash, you shouldn't be mad that you got Ash. It's just your opponent drew Ash. It is what it is. You're supposed to get stopped going second. You're supposed to stop your opponent going first. That's how the game works. Now, you're going to be mad when they have 3 freaking hand traps. At that point in time, you just have bad luck. It happens to me all the time, and I get angry. Go watch the stream, you'll know. But that's pretty much it. That's my opinion. I think that my list is not necessarily the problem. It's the way that they release my list. The fact that my list is changing the way that hand traps are being used. The hand traps are being... The mirror match sucks because this one hand trap is legitimately the only reason why you win. It doesn't come down to whether you thought about a better play, you came up with a plan, anything like that. Doesn't matter, because this just stops you from playing the game. This is the maxi to my list, this card right here. And that's pretty much it. Let me know how you guys feel about the state of the game. Are you still playing? What rank are you in? How far have you made it? How's your experience if you're playing? And if you're not playing, how long are you not playing for? What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for Rasil, however you want to call it? What is your opinion? Again, I just wanted to bring this up because I want to know what the community is really thinking, because I don't think my list is necessarily the problem. I think cards like this and Apollo, and the fact that, you know, it is making the meta shift to a non-playable game state, because at the end of the day, everybody spend money to play this thing, you can't even play it. And that's Konami's fault, honestly speaking, because we should have better hand traps, we should have better ways to stop things. And honestly, without this, we do have better hand traps and better ways to stop this deck, because without this, even Ogre will be a great hand trap, because when they activate a link monster, you pop it, they have to start the link climb again. But again, that's just my opinion. Like I said, if you guys enjoy the content, leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe, because I would really appreciate it. Don't want to yap any longer. Let me know your opinion, and I'm going to catch you guys next time. Peace.